Hello and welcome. Before we begin, we would like to respectfully acknowledge that we live, breathe, and create from the unceded and unsurrendered lands of the Wabenaki Confederacy. As Acadians, we are eternally grateful to the Mi'kmaq and the Wolastoqiyik people for their friendship and resilience, which inspires our own journey. This is a peer support space, and we're not mental health professionals. Our content is based on lived experience and trusted research. But it's not a substitute for professional therapy. If you're in crisis, please reach out to a crisis service in your area. In Canada and the US, you can call 988. You matter. You're important more than you may realize. And if all that you've done in a day is breathe through the moments, that's all you had to do. Welcome to the Choeur Nacré, the Pearlescent Choir. We're a community about finding strength, color, and song within the mosaic of dissociation. I'm Poppy, and this is our first note together. We are the Purple Poppy system. We all answer to the name Poppy. We live with Dissociative Identity Disorder, or DID, and for us that means that we're a collective of, at last count, over 50 unique selves sharing one body and life. We're all unique. We have our own thoughts. We have our own full range of emotions. Statistically, DID isn't rare, but it's often hidden. About 1 to 3% of people have it. To put that in perspective, that's about as common as having a natural redhead. Think of that in terms of your community. And we're part of just over 10% of people who experience some form of dissociative disorder, which is roughly as common as being left-handed. How many left-handed people do you know in your life? We're not a sideshow. We're not here for anybody's entertainment. We're here because we know the profound isolation that can come with this reality, and we believe in the power of supportive community. So first, let's talk about the basics. The DSM-5, which is the North American manual professionals use to identify mental health disorders and issues such as depression, anxiety, narcissistic personality disorder, PTSD, any of these kinds of mental health issues, outlines 5 main dissociative disorders. Think of them as different ways a mind can protect itself from overwhelming stress and trauma. Dissociative identity disorder, which is what we have, involves discontinuity in identity, distinct alters, or personality states. It can only be formed in early childhood before the child forms a full sense of self. It's not that a person was one and then cracked under pressure. It's the brain reacting to stresses, built walls, and deep grooves to deal with different situations. Dissociative amnesia is the inability to recall important personal information, usually of a traumatic nature, that's too extensive to be just ordinary forgetfulness. So think of a parent, for example, who learns that their child has passed away. They will definitely remember the moment that they got the news, but they may not remember the next few days, maybe weeks, things that they've said or done, and things that are important information that's personal to them, but they just may not be able to remember them. Depersonalization and derealization disorder. That's a persistent feeling of being detached from your own body or mental processes, or feeling that the world is unreal. Now, this is something that we experience as part of our DID. And it really is like watching, like being an out-of-body experience and watching others do things. And you can't stop them or control them. Or say things and you can't stop them or control them. We get caught with that one a lot. And derealization is very difficult to explain. The best way that we could explain it is that we come from the Atlantic provinces in Canada. And sometimes when we drive into a city, we'll all of a sudden feel like we're driving in downtown Montreal. We're not in Montreal. We didn't grow up in Montreal, but it will feel like all of a sudden we're in Montreal, but we're in the Maritimes. We've not left, like we're driving within an hour of our home. So it's unreal. We know one thing, it's one thing, but it feels like something else. Other specified dissociative disorder, or OSDD, this is where you'll find most people who have a dissociative disorder fall into. And this is a crucial category because it's for those who don't fit the exact criteria of dissociative identity disorder, but have significant dissociation of some type. Unspecified dissociative disorder is dissociative symptoms that cause distress but don't meet the full criteria for the other disorders as listed by the DSM-5. The core experience across all of them is the disruption in the normal integration of consciousness memory, identity, and perception. So why don't people know? That's a big question. Some people might not even know they have a dissociative disorder until much later in life. And it comes to the purpose of dissociation. It's to hide in plain sight, even from yourself. That's why denial is such a big component and something that people with the dissociative disorder will struggle with. I know we do. It's a survival mechanism. It's not a flaw. Recent research is showing that there's a very high correlation with neurodivergence, specifically autism and ADHD and dissociative disorders. That, along with disorganized attachment from early childhood trauma, increases the risk that a person will develop a dissociative disorder. And we know this from experience because we have both ADHD and autism. And having been part of the ADHD community, there's a piece of information that is thrown out there, but that sometimes people don't look at more profoundly. And it's a piece of research where people found that, those who were doing the research found that a child between kindergarten and grade 6 or 5 or 6 will face, just during the school hours, 20,000 more negative comments and experiences than their non-ADHD counterparts. So these are young students before the brain has fully formed. It's still in major development mode, and whatnot. And they're experiencing this just in the hours that they're in school. They're not counting what's happening at home. They're not counting what's happening during the summer break. They're not counting what's happened before they started school. And they're not counting what's happening after school or before school. That 20,000 negative comments and experiences is traumatic. And people with autism experience even more. The developing brain uses every tool it has to cope with this. That's why small t trauma, things that you don't notice necessarily, can play a big role in developing dissociative disorders. Sometimes what a child experiences as normal or beautiful in childhood might still involve overwhelming moments their brain couldn't process. Plurality exists on a spectrum, and not all paths are the same. Living with poorly understood condition is deeply isolating. It can feel you're speaking a language that no one else knows. That's why fake claiming, the act of accusing someone of faking their disorder, is so harmful. It's already isolating to begin with. Why make it more isolating? It reinforces the isolation and the stigma when someone fake claims, especially medical professionals. We take a stance of compassionate caution. We believe that a person who feels the need to pretend to have a severe mental illness, such as dissociative disorders, in their own right, is struggling and needs support. Just a different kind. Our goal is to foster understanding, not suspicion. This is why a strong, informed support system, your own pearlescent choir of friends, family, and or community is invaluable. So what is the Choeur Nacré? We are creating through this peer-led space, a space for those with dissociative disorders and their loved ones. We will share our journey through 4 rotating themes: understanding our system, which may help you understand yours or the system of someone you love. Daily management and safety, because we have to stay safe. Navigating relationships within the system and with others. And the journey of healing. You'll notice that we use we a lot. This is part of our system responsibility. It's our commitment to ourselves, to our system, that every action we take, every word we post, everything that we say is accountable to all 50 plus members of our system. It's how we care for each other. If an adult in the system does something that is harmful, everybody in the system, including the children in the system, will have to live with the consequences. By using we remember that there's others in the system. You can expect honesty from us. We all navigate ADHD, autism, flashbacks, and difficult seasons. There are different times of the year that are just harder than others. Our videos may sometimes show that reality. They will be one take and unedited, because we are presenting life as it is. We aim for weekly long-form videos plus some shorter clips and resources. The reality is that every one of us has ADHD and autism, and it expresses itself differently for all of us. And we all experience dissociative disorder because we are all part of the system. We'll explore topics through discussion and sometimes simple crafts. Hopefully we'll get an overhead system camera set up so that we can do some crafts. We'll honor important dates for our local Indigenous communities, and I realize I said that poorly. They're not ours. We live on their land, but we are neighbors. It doesn't erase the fact that we said that poorly. But we will honor the important dates for the local Indigenous communities and for the Acadians, recognizing the shared stories of trauma and resilience. When we get merch, it will feature unique Acadian French and Canadian English phrases celebrating our linguistic mosaic. Most importantly, we focus on the sunrise of possibilities. Awareness is the first light. And as we like to say, from one light comes all colors. D'une seule lumière vient toutes, couleurs. If this resonates with you, you're not alone. Your experience is valid. We invite you to join our fledgling flock in our little garden let's build this choir together, one voice at a time. To stay connected, please follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, Choeur Nacré. Like this video if it helped or you found it informative. Tell us in the comments what you'd like to hear about next and where you're from. Generally, North America, we can use time zones and provinces or states. Countries in other areas, if we live in a community in a province that has less than 100 million, has less than 1 million people, 100 million, has less than 1 million people. We're not going to identify exactly where we live. So, safety first. Thank you for your time, your courage, and your presence. Hopefully, our other videos will be a little bit more relaxed. We thought introducing ourselves should be a little bit more serious. Remember, you are unique. Remember, your unique colors are needed in this mosaic. None of us were ever meant to be a simple square white tile. Even though those are needed, we just don't fit that mold. So, Wela'lin, Woliwon, Merci, thank you, and we'll see you next time.